Okay, motherfuckers, let's do this. Scrap or Tap Live. If anybody is on here, wants to talk, I could give you a StreamYard link. Please comment if you have anything to say about anything I'm talking about. I'm always up for the dialogue. You know, I'll probably make the wait time 5 minutes on the next one instead of 10. That's probably too long. Ain't nobody waiting for my stupid ass. But the other part of it is nobody's watching my stupid ass. So I got to share this shit when I first go live in order to try to get some eyes. Pardon me as I die. You know what I'm saying? So listen, the first thing I want to jump right into is Claressa Shields, because that fight is on tonight on the PFL. The main card starts at 10 p.m. So let's talk about my girl Claressa, man. A lot of people, talk shit about her. They say she's arrogant. I think she's just confident. I think people being confident in general can make certain people uncomfortable, whether some people just don't like that attitude or whether some people are insecure. I think that plays a role in it at times. And then when a woman is extra confident like that, I think it could be misconstrued as arrogance even quicker. But let me tell you something. If someone's talented and they have a skill and they're confident in that skill, why shouldn't they be confident? I don't believe in arrogance when it comes to Claressa Shields. I don't see that. Watch her interview on Joe Rogan. You'll see a whole lot of confidence, but arrogance I can't agree with. So let's talk the girl Claressa real quick, man. All right, so she's making her MMA debut tonight on ESPN on the PFL. Okay, she has been training with top MMA fighters and trainers at Jackson Wink since she decided she wants to go into MMA. I really can't understand why there's some people out there that are hating on Claressa Shields the way that they are. Okay, her talent is undeniable. Okay, and she's the first fighter. Okay, male, female, it doesn't matter, that in her prime said, I want to go to MMA now while I'm in my prime. Not for like a crazy spectacle fight, like James Toney versus Randy Couture, or a wrestler, like what's his name, CM Punk going into the UFC. It worked out for Brock Lesnar, but once again, a wrestler, not an actual sport. You know what I mean? So this woman has been dominant in boxing. She's arguably the greatest female boxer of all time, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Okay, she's got titles in 3 weight classes. She's arguably the greatest. Somebody made a point earlier that Ann Wolfe and Layla Ali could also be in that conversation. It's hard to argue that, because they were both great in their time. But I think pound for pound, skill for skill, Claressa Shields is the most technically sound, crisp female boxer in the history of boxing so far. That's my honest opinion about Claressa after watching all her fights. Okay, I've been watching her since her first 2-3 fights. I watched her in the Olympics. I watched her as a professional. Okay, she does at times get wild, which thank God she hasn't been in there with a real puncher that's clipped her. But when you're that confident and you're that confident in your footwork and you can get back to the spot quick, you don't mind winging some shots here and there. You know what I mean? She hasn't found her power yet. Like she hasn't, she's not a knockout artist, if we're being honest. I think she only got 2 or 3 knockouts. I think it's 2. I think she's 12-0 with 2 knockouts, but now she's going over MMA. She's crossing over. Okay, she's been practicing her ground game. There's videos of her kicking. She looks great on the kicks. She's been getting pointers from Holly Holm and John Jones and all the other great people over there at Jackson Wink. It's one of the best MMA gyms in the world. So tune in to that shit tonight, okay? It's on ESPN. A good amount of y'all have ESPN. If you don't, once again, I'll send a little reminder that there's always options, okay? You see that at the bottom of the screen? If you go to those sites and you just fight through pop-ups, you can watch any fight. Don't encourage it, but I'd rather you watch it than not watch it. So for those that don't have ESPN, do that. But it's live on ESPN tonight, okay? And the main event starts at 10. The prelims start at 7. They actually started already. I do suggest everyone get over to ESPN if they can and watch the Clay Collard fight. That's headlining the prelims over there on the PFL, okay? And he's the guy that just beat Anthony Pettis in his last fight. UFC veteran Anthony Pettis, champion, So it's not bums over there in the PFL. There's a lot of great fighters in the the PFL. Clay Collard also did like 4 or 5 professional boxing matches under the Top Rank bubble during the pandemic when he couldn't get any MMA fights with the PFL. So watch out for Clay Collard. He's got a lot of skills, good hands, obviously, if he tried his hands at boxing. And he's got ground game. He's a good overall fighter, you know. As far as the PFL card tonight, what else do we got on that card? I might as well give you a little rundown of whatever's cracking on there, right? So you're gonna see the Bellator over on the right-hand side, but we're gonna leave that alone for now. So there was actually a change to the main event, and I think it's what's his name? Martinez is fighting Nathan Schultz. Nathan Schultz is actually the winner of the PFL tournament last year, okay, but he lost in his first fight in this season of the PFL. A hard fight against I think Marcus Held is his name. I know the dude, seen him fight a couple times. It was a very, very hard fought fight. You know, it was the right guy got the win. You know, Held did enough to win the fight, but that's going to be in replacement of the other fight tonight. So if you can, I would hop over there right after I'm done talking here and going through what's going on. I would hop over to ESPN. It's free. Why not? The PFL has a lot of great fights, and you get to see the MMA debut of Claressa Shields and see what she does in the ring. Okay, she's fighting this chick, Brittany Elkin. Now listen, Brittany Elkin, she's on a 3-fight losing streak. She's not the best, but this isn't a circus, okay? This is Claressa Shields actually trying to cross over to MMA and be a professional MMA fighter. She's not going to jump in there, you know, with Amanda Nunes or Kayla Harrison, who won the PFL tournament last year for the females. That they might bump heads at the end of this tournament, right? So Claressa is going to have to get ready in 2-3 fights possibly for a fight like Kayla Harrison, who's a beast. Look up Kayla Harrison. Monster. These are 2 giant, strong women. You know what I mean? Hopefully they'll meet in the future. But first, Claressa, she has to pass the test, okay? She has to get in there and fight this fighter that's on a 3-fight losing streak and try to get a win and see what she could do in the MMA arena. So go to ESPN, tune in, okay? I think it's going to be a really good fight, and we get to see what Claressa Shields can do outside of the boxing ring. And just keep this in mind. The only fighter that had the ball so far from boxing to go into the MMA cage for not a circus fight, for a real fight, was the one without balls. So keep that in mind when you're talking shit about Claressa Shields. You know what I mean? Keep that in mind, okay? Now we got the Bellator card. We got a pretty good card going on with Bellator as well. All right? Actually, we got a huge card going on with the Bellator. Let me tell you something. If you like fight sports, this is the weekend, okay? We got the PFL tonight. We have Bellator tomorrow on Friday. That's on Showtime, okay? We have Shakur Stevenson, who's one of the top young prospects in boxing right now, fighting on Saturday night. And then we got a huge UFC card, UFC 263. We're going to go over that too. But first, let's hit up a little bit about this Bellator card here. All right, as you can see, we got a nice little card for Bellator, man. Douglas Lima, he's going to be defending his belt against Omasov. Now, Douglas Lima, he's in a similar situation to Israel Adesanya, who's fighting on Saturday in the UFC. They went up in weight. They fought a great fighter at one's 185, one was light heavyweight. Lima went up to 185. He fought Gregor Mousasi, obviously, you know, Mousasi, okay? And he lost, but he put up a good fight. But he still has his belt. He's still going down to defend his belt. And that's the same thing Israel is doing on Saturday night. So it's not like they're coming off of losses. Israel's a little more debatable because it's the first loss of his MMA career, not the first loss of his career because he was a kickboxer for many years. Douglas Lima, he's lost before. I don't expect him to, you know, have any, you know, rust or any issues from that loss. Not rust. That's not the right way. I don't expect him to have any drawbacks because he took a L. Douglas Lima has took losses in the past. I think he's going to bounce back, most likely get the win. Now, Omasov is no joke. He's 25-0, but he hasn't fought top guys like Douglas Lima has. You know, Douglas Lima can compete with any welterweight in the world, any 170-pounder in the world. He could go to the UFC right now, fight most of the roster, beat most of them, maybe Usman. I don't know if he's beaten Usman at this point, you know, but Douglas Lima is no joke. He's another guy. You see him get another win or two in Bellator, he might be on the Michael Chandler path and be in the UFC before you know it. So I would tune in for the main event for Bellator. Once again, that's Friday. Okay, that is Friday, as you can see, at 9 o'clock on Showtime. The prelims are on YouTube. They start at 6 p.m. Okay, as far as the prelims, you got some good fights on the prelims too. I'm going to be honest with you. The main one I'm looking for, my man right here, Chokili. I can't say his name properly, but he's 9-0 with 9 knockouts. If I'm going for the undercard on Bellator, I'm putting a pin, I'm putting, an exclamation point on the fight that's headlining the Bellator undercard. That should be a really good fight. All right. You got on the main card, you got the UFC veteran and now Bellator veteran, Paul Daly. He's fighting Jason Jackson. Now, Paul Daly, as everyone knows, Simtex, he got left hand, power in his left hand that'll destroy anybody that it lands on. But he has a problem with guys that can wrestle at times, and he has a problem with guys with a good jab that can keep distance at times. And Jason Jackson has both of those attributes. So I think Paul Daly has a chance to win, but he's got to land one of those bombs. Point blank period. I don't think he wins unless he lands one of those crazy bombs, You got Aaron Pico versus Aiden Lee. Now, Pico, for those that don't know, he was a young phenomenon, 20, 21 years old coming up. They thought he was going to be the next great. Now, it doesn't mean he won't be. He's had a few losses. At times, he's been disappointing, underachieved, if you want to say that, but he's still only 24 years old. So it's ridiculous to write him off. All the people that shit on him because he got a few losses that people don't think he should have got, it's ridiculous. You know what I mean? He's 24 years old. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. He has all the talent. He is also training with Greg Jackson over at Jackson Wink now for a little while. And he's had a lot of success since going over there. And I think it's the best thing for him. He's a great wrestler, good striker, great ground game. So that's a fight I'm definitely keeping an eye on. And everyone should definitely try to check out if you can. I say it the way I say it because I know everybody's not going to watch every fight. So unless you're a real fight freak, right? So I try to highlight certain fights that I think either have the potential to be great fights as far as the competition or there's storylines behind them. So that's kind of what you're going to get out of me on that level, right? So as far as that, you got a nice Bellator card. You got a nice PFL card. Once again, the PFL card is tonight on ESPN. So leave here, go right to ESPN if you ain't doing shit else. At the very least, I would watch the Clay Collard fight if it's still on, and I would go for Claressa Shields. Please watch that, man. This woman, it's a shame, right? Claressa Shields had the lead female boxing, top of the game, mopping everyone up because there's just not enough exposure for female boxers. I've heard some people make it about race. That's only people who don't know boxing. Female boxing, for one reason or another, and there's been a lot of extremely talented female boxers in the history of the sport, has never caught. It's never caught on. I think the WNBA might do better numbers at times. That's probably a lie, but it's a shame though, because she has all the talent to just dominate female boxing for 10 years if she wanted to. But you know what? She wanted to test herself and she wanted to gain that extra skill. She wanted to see where she's at and she wants to make some money. For those that don't know, the way the PFL works, there's a regular season, then there's a playoff tournament, and then the winner of the main event at the end gets $1 million. So she's trying to get her money. She's trying to get her name known, and she's also trying to challenge herself. So you better take your hat off to her for that. You know what I mean? So I'm going to jump over to the boxing real quick. All right. And my guy, Shakur Stevenson. Okay. He's fighting Jeremiah Nakathila. Listen, this is an interim super featherweight belt. So it is for a belt, an interim belt. So it does mean something. His opponent, he hasn't fought a lot of great guys, but at the end of the day, you need to tune in and watch Shakur Stevenson. Because when I say this kid is special, I mean this kid is special. Okay, he was a silver medalist. Okay, and he took that hard. You seen him cry after the Olympics. Like, he took that hard. He said second place isn't a win for him. He was proud of what he did for his country, proud of what he did for himself by getting the silver medal, all right, at the Olympics. He was happy. But he's using that as a fire to drive him, okay? And Terrence Crawford happens to be like a big brother figure to him. Okay, so imagine having him in his ear all the time. How competitive Terrence Crawford is, right? And then with the skill set that Shakur Stevenson has already at 23 years old, I'm telling you right now, he's one of the top prospects to watch. Okay. He's at 130 now. He'll probably be at 140 within a year, I'd say, if I had to guess. All right. He already has one of the best defense and counter punches off defense in the game. Okay. It's not just the defense. He has defense mixed with the ability to turn it into a counter. Okay. He's one of the best in the game already, arguably, and he's 23 years old. All right. Not a power puncher per se yet. I think he's 15-0, 8 knockouts, so he still got to grow into his strength a little bit, or do strength and conditioning training mixed with grow into it. Or maybe he won't be a power puncher, like a true power puncher. We don't know. But he has all the skills, all the talent. So I would definitely make sure on Saturday night you tune into that. Let me double check the time that starts. That's on Showtime as well. Let me make sure I set you guys up properly for those that are going to watch, the 5-10 people that watch on YouTube, the 30-40 that might watch on Facebook. Nah, it's a little better than that. But please, everyone out there, help me expand this. Get people to subscribe. All right? Go over to my YouTube, FocusCDS, subscribe. You're going to get fight sports. You're going to get comedy. You're going to get independent talent. You're going to get social commentary. All right? You might not like the comedy, but you might like the hip-hop. You might not like the hip-hop, but you like the fight sports. You might not like the fight sports, but you like the social commentary. One way or another, I'm trying to provide content that can resonate with everybody. So please do me a favor. Show love. I appreciate y'all. All right, so that's 10. Oh, okay. Shakur. Why'd I say Shakur was on Showtime? There's no way. He's top rank. Shakur Stevenson fight. It's 10 o'clock. Once again, ESPN. All right. So if you don't want to pay for the UFC and you don't want to pay for the pay-per-view, you're going to try to stream that, or you're going to try to watch that in a couple days, go to ESPN and watch one of the top young prospects in boxing who is guaranteed to continue to keep winning belts and getting better because he's 23 years old, and get your ass to ESPN and watch the free fight. I don't want to hear shit. People cry about not wanting to pay. Yeah, I hear you. So go to ESPN. Watch PFL on ESPN tonight. Watch Bellator if you have Showtime on Showtime tomorrow. And watch Shakur Stevenson on ESPN on Saturday night if you don't want to watch the UFC 263 event, which is a pay-per-view. And if you don't want to spend that money, I get it. But once again, take a look at the bottom of the screen there, okay? There's always options, okay? Damn, man, my face is already starting to look like a glazed donut. And I fucking eat a lot of glazed donuts, you know what I mean? So I guess it matches. I got bacon grease all in the face already. It's hot as fuck in this basement without the AC on, man. But I can't have it on while I'm recording, so you know how that goes. But so we got the Shakur Stevenson fight this weekend. I think I touched on mostly everything I wanted to touch on in regards to that. All eyes on Shakur. You know what I mean? Named after Tupac, I assume. I think I heard that in the interview, but I'm going to go with it either way. Watch that young brother. I'm telling you right now, he's going to have a great career. Okay. I hope he develops a little more power, a little more pop, because that's always, a good thing and helps you grow your brand and get more of a fan base for those that don't love the sweet science enough to love the nuances of a boxing performance. But that kid is special. That kid is for sure special. So I would definitely keep your eyes open for that fight. Once again, bang. 15-0, 21-1, one of the best young prospects in the game. It's for the 130-pound interim title belt. Okay, it is a title. So check that out, man. Check that out. What else we got cooking here? All right, you know what? Let's talk about this real quick on a lighter note. All right, you guys gotta help me out with this, right? So GSP, I'm gonna make the screen big for this. GSP receives a statue in his hometown. For real? For real? So what? GSP looks like Obama from a comic book with it looks like Marvel Obama. You know what I'm saying? That shit looks like if they made a comic book about Barack Obama and he was a Marvel character, there he goes right there. They chiseled his chin a little bit more, got him hooked up. But I got questions, man. This shit right here, it reminds me of the what you call it, the Cristiano Ronaldo statue that got a lot of flack a bunch of years back. Y'all remember that? But I think we got to talk to this statue maker here, because to me it looks more like he took a picture with Obama, like Obama was walking through Canada. He's like, let me get a picture. And they took it. They did the prototype pose that you do when you take a picture with a fighter. Oh man, I need answers on this one because that shit looks crazy. Am I the only one? Tell me. I need y'all to tell me too, though. Am I the only one that sees Obama? I even showed it to my girl, and my girl loves to disagree with me. You know what I mean? If I say the sky's blue, that shit is turquoise. You know what I'm saying? And I showed it to her, and she thought it was Obama too. So I know I'm not bugging. Let's take a look at this a little bit more. GSP receives a statue in his hometown, or GSP takes a picture with Barack Obama. Vote now. Cast your votes below, man. I don't know what the fuck is going on over here. You know what I mean? All right, so let's get that out of there for now. Now, let's get to it, right? Let's get to it. What's the biggest event of this weekend? Of course, UFC 263, right? UFC 263. Shit, man. This is going to be one of those cards. You know? This is one of those cards for the legends. This is a legendary card right here. Okay, obviously, you got the rematch, Israel Adesanya, Marvin Vettori. The first fight was a split decision. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think it should have been a split decision. I think Adesanya did enough to win the fight, like obviously, but it was a close fight. You know, I'm not going to say Vettori got his ass whooped. You know, aside from Gastelum, that was Israel Adesanya's hardest fight so far, right? He had a hard fight with Gastelum, and he had a competitive fight with Marvin Vettori. But everyone else he's fought, Israel Adesanya, has just wiped off the map. You know what I mean? Destroyed for the most part. So now you want to go back. Vettori's been looking great. Beat a bunch of really good fighters. You know, a couple great fighters. Looking good. You give the guy another crack at the belt, obviously. It's like Usman said, right? Adesanya's doing the same shit with his division. He's doing laps at this point. He's got to come back to guys because he already beat them. You know, so that's going to be a hell of a fight. That was a close fight. Vettori thinks he sees something now, right? In the Blachowicz fight with Adesanya, his loss, right? He did lose. Fair and square, lost the fight. But just remember, he went up 20 pounds, challenged himself to try to be a two-weight champion. So let's not look too much into that. But what some people do think is that Adesanya showed people that his ground game was more suspect than they thought. I don't necessarily agree with that because Blachowicz is a huge dude, man. Jan is a big guy. There's a big difference between Vettori and him. You know, Vittori's got a good ground game, but if he doesn't succeed in that ground game and he finds himself toe-to-toe with Adesanya, Adesanya is arguably the best striker, at least in recent years. I want to say in the history of the MMA, people probably be on my neck about that. But I do think he's one of the most technically sound and efficient strikers in the history of MMA. All right, when it comes to kicks, punches combined, footwork, fluidity, Israel Adesanya is the truth. But that is a very good rematch to keep an eye on, okay? Now, we also got in the co-main event, we got Figueiredo versus Moreno. Now, for those that know, pardon me, for those that don't know, the first fight of the year shit. You know, it might even won fight of the year because I don't think it was this year. Was it this year or late? I'm not sure. Bottom line, fight of the year candidate shit regardless. A war, straight war for 5 rounds for Figueiredo's title. It ended up ending in a draw, okay? Which I think everybody kind of felt that was the right decision. You know, at the end of that fight, it's very, very, very hard to say one guy definitely won. It was one of those fights. Figueiredo was a little more powerful in that fight. He looked like he buzzed Moreno a couple more times. Moreno doesn't have as much pop in his strikes, right? So it was more volume for him. You know, it was more of a volume thing. And the volume kind of counteracted the power mixed with volume because Figueiredo was hitting on all cylinders with volume as well. So if you want to see a classic MMA fight, you want to see that fight because the first fight was a fucking barn burner from beginning, bing, bing, bell to bell. Amazing fight. You know what I mean? So you got to see that fight and go, wow. Then you got Leon Edwards going against Nate Diaz, okay? Now, say what you want about Nate Diaz. You know, a lot of people would say that the reason he gets these events is just because he's a good sell and he's a good shit talker. Okay, it's your fucking point. Stop hating, man. Stop hating on people getting to their money. He's getting to his money regardless. He could take a loss, sit on the bench, and talk his way, right? And popular his way back into a huge fight against Leon Edwards. And even though it isn't a main event, it's not the the last fight of the night. It's being treated as a main event, and it's a 5-round fight. Okay, so that could play to Nate Diaz's advantage, but I don't really think so. Leon Edwards is one of the best fighters in the entire UFC, extremely underrated, extremely technical, and most people would favor Leon Edwards in this fight, and I would as well. The only way I could see Nate beating him is if he could just get on him constant. But I don't think he's going to be able to bully him and outvolume him the way he did against Pettis and the way he has against some other people in the past, okay? Leon Edwards is not a small guy. He's easily 170, could probably move up if he wanted to, okay? And it's a shame what happened in his last fight against Belal Muhammad, who's also on the card. Eye poke finished that fight, kind of a weird ending to a fight, unfortunately. But Leon Edwards, he beats Nate Diaz in this fight. He better get the title shot. And the sad shit is, and I feel bad for the other people at 170, all right, in that division, is if Nate Diaz wins, there's a good chance he's going to get a title shot against Kamaru Usman. There's a very good chance of that. So is it right? I don't know. But what I do know is I'm here for it, and that's going to be a hell of a fight. That's going to be a hell of a fight. And then you got the OG, all right, Damian Maia, going against Belal Muhammad, who I just mentioned, who fought Leon Edwards the last time out, and he was getting beat. So it's not like, there's a whole bunch of, we got to see it again because Belal was doing good. It was early in the fight. So we didn't see Leon Edwards dominate him for a long period of time, but we did see Leon Edwards win the fight convincingly for as long as it lasted. And then, unfortunately, one of the worst eye pokes I ever seen, that shit was like 3 fingers deep, like a hoe on the boardwalk, and whole eye was pulled down. That shit looked like a special effect. It was a bad eye poke, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie. But he's fighting Damian Maia, obviously the legend, right? Now, what does Maia have left, right? Who the fuck knows what Maia has left at this point? He's obviously a legend. He's obviously a Hall of Famer. One of the best ground specialists in the history of the UFC, in the history of MMA. If he gets it to the ground when they're dry early on before they start sweating all over the place, Maia could win. It's possible. But Belal Muhammad is really good on the ground, good striker, great fighter overall, has all the tools in the shed. He's really not weak in too many categories. So I would favor Belal in that fight. But of course, you can't really say much about Maia. And then the other fight we got, which should be a hell of a fucking fight, is my guy Paul Craig, aka Bear Jew. Yeah, his nickname is Bear Jew. So just for that alone, that's the guy. You know what I mean? That's a real name right there. I don't know if he's actually Jewish though. I haven't looked into it. I assume if his name is Bear Jew, that he would have to be Jewish, right? I don't know if you could get away in this day and age with your name being Bear Jew, your nickname being Bear Jew if you're not Jewish. Now, he's fighting Jamala Hill. Man, you know me, man. I told you with this white shit. I'm not good with all the crazy names, man. Even though, I'm a street white boy, but I'm white as fuck when it comes to pronunciation of names. Told you guys, I need Trevors, but I'm going to try to improve. I promise. You know what I mean? But listen, this dude is 8-0, okay? 4 KOs, 4 decisions, all right? So not many submissions, but he's beaten St. Preux. He's looking, OSP. He's looked real good so far. But Paul Craig, I like that guy, man. I like the way that guy fights. All of his fights are very entertaining. He has more submission. He's a little more of a submission fighter. A lot more, really. He's 14-4. He got 12 submissions, only 2 knockouts. He has been knocked out 3 times in his losses. And my other man right there, Hill, he can get that knockout maybe. If it goes to the ground, if it's a grappling situation, Paul Craig has the advantage for sure. My man Bear Jew, love that shit. Remember the first time I heard that shit, I was like, oh shit, His fucking nickname is Bear Jew. That's some gangster shit right there, you know? but yeah, so listen, let me tell you something, man. That is a stacked main card for the UFC. Okay? I understand. I don't really like paying for them either. I get it. Trust me. But if you're gonna pay for an event, right? Let's say you feel, you know what? I'm gonna pull the trigger. I'm gonna get ESPN Plus. I'm gonna pay for this. This is a card to pay for. Okay, if there is a card that's worth the money, it's this card. You got 2 belts on the line. You got Nate Diaz. You got the legend Damian Maia. Okay, and then in the undercard, we got Drew Dober versus Brad Riddell. Brad Riddell is a young monster. He's on a 6-fight winning streak at this point. All right, you got Drew Dober, who is 23-10, has had a great career so far. His only loss is to Islam Makhachev, okay, who's an understudy of Khabib, who some people say could be better than Khabib at some point. So it's not like he lost to a bum. He's had a great career. All right, Riddell is looking to put a decent name on under his belt. You know, you beat Drew Dober, it's a decent name that you could throw on there. Like, bang, yeah, okay, good name for sure. So, you know, now you're going into the prelims and you still got a great fight. Okay, and then you got Eric Anders going against Darren Stewart. Eric Anders is a fucking monster. All his fights are entertaining as fuck. All right. Maybe not for him. He don't fight the smartest at times because a lot of his fights are straight wars. You know what I mean? Bam, bam, just heavy shots, you know? And then he's fighting Stewart, who's also an absolute monster. All right. And this is technically a rematch, right? Technically, it is a rematch. In the last fight, Anders mistakenly threw an illegal knee. So the fight was stopped due to an illegal knee. So now we really get to see where this fight could go. And when you watch this fight, Eric Anders versus Stewart, you're going to see both of these guys get in the ring. These guys are monsters. These guys are just brolic, strong, hard punching guys. Most likely that fight is going to end in the KO. Which direction, we don't know yet. You know, so now we're into the prelims and we still got 2 ridiculous fights, right? Now we turn around and we get to the Joanne Calderwood versus Lauren Murphy fight. All right. That fight, I don't even know why it's on the undercard, because most likely the winner of that fight is going to get a crack at Valentina, right? Most likely, especially if it's Lauren Murphy, because Lauren Murphy, I think that'll make a 5-fight winning streak for her. Calderwood's also, 15-5, had a good career so far. She's lost more recently. Her last win was against Jessica Ai. So, you got 2 high-level women. That's going to be a hell of a fight. You got Mosvar Iloev versus Hakeem Dawodu. That's another barn burner. I mean, we're really seriously, we're in store for a crazy weekend of fights. If you are a fight fan, I will say it again, this is one of the best fight weekends for a while. Unfortunately, there's not more boxing going on. I would love to see more boxing. It's a very MMA heavy weekend, but then there's weekends where it's the opposite, where there's a bunch of great boxing matches and only a couple good MMA events. So, it's a little imbalanced in that way. If you're a boxing fan, you might say, oh, this is a shit fight weekend. But me personally, I just love fight sports. You'll know me, So I would tune into all these events this weekend. Right now, if you're watching this or you happen to see this, put on ESPN. All right. Get ESPN on. Watch that event. All right. You got Claressa Shields. She's going in there. A dominant female boxer. Going to MMA. Training with the best MMA trainers. Trying her hand at something new. All right. You got Bellator. You got a belt on the line. You got young beasts. Okay. You got Shakur Stevenson on Saturday night. Okay, one of the best young prospects in the game. That's on ESPN. So you got ESPN tonight. You got Showtime on Friday night. You got ESPN on Saturday. And then you got the Holy Grail, which is UFC 263, which I'm telling you right now, UFC 263 is going to be one of the best fight cards of the year, no matter what sport you're talking about. And it is mandatory. If you are a fight fan, find a way to watch it, okay? Go back in the video. You'll see that I gave you some options of places that you can watch it. If you don't want to pay for the pay-per-view, which I don't encourage, I think it's wrong. It's wrong to stream. Don't stream. All right. But like I said, There's options. Now, before I break out of here, I want to touch on a couple things, all right? First of all, we got Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 3, all right? It's happening in July. They're doing it in the smaller stadium now. I don't know why. Maybe they're scared of COVID still. I can understand if that's the way it is. That's going to be July 24th at the T-Mobile Arena. They're having their first press conference on Tuesday, all right? They announced the undercard. The undercard has straight up heavyweights. That's all you're getting from this undercard. Beast mode, all night, heavy-handed heavyweights. But not all of them are heavy-handed, right? So in the co-main event, you got Frank Sanchez versus Ife Achigaba, who was also an Olympian. He's hard-hitting. He looks like an absolute monster so far. Look him up. The guy looks serious, but he's never fought anybody. Now, he's going to be going against Frank Sanchez, okay? Frank Sanchez is a heavyweight, but he's more of a pure boxing heavyweight, right? So you got straight freak power beast on the come up versus great boxing heavyweight. And I think they did that on purpose because obviously it's similar to the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder matchup, right? And then you got Jared Anderson. I think Jared Anderson, 22 years old, okay? Heavyweight prospect on the come up. I'm going to double check. I think Jared Anderson is 9-0 with 9 knockouts. Obviously, he's not fighting high-level competition yet. He's not really in there against anybody that means anything. His opponent is to be announced, okay? But yes, my man, Jared Anderson, is 9-0, 9 knockouts, 21 years old, didn't even turn 22 yet. Watch out for him, okay? So that's another reason to watch that card when it comes. You got nothing but heavyweights going on. You got a heavyweight prospect, okay? You got a slick heavyweight against a hard-punching heavyweight prospect in Agjoba as well. And then you also have, in the middle of that, Robert Helenius versus Adam Kawanaki. Now, I don't know how many people are familiar with Kawanaki. He is another young prospect on the come-up. He fought Helenius in his last fight. And I think, yeah, he got knocked out. I just wanted to double-check that. So Robert Helenius, who they weren't expecting to win, right? He was brought in there kind of as an opponent for Kawanaki. They figured, all right, we'll get this journeyman in. We'll get this guy in, you know, not known name. We'll get Kawanaki to knock his ass out. He ended up getting knocked out. So they're getting the rematch there. Kawanaki gets a chance to right that wrong. Okay, he's another young prospect. Let me double check his age. I know he's on the young side too. All right, he's 32, not as young as I thought, but still many years left. He's only 20-1. That's why I thought he was a little younger. But regardless, he gets a chance to try to make up for that loss. You know, we got to see. Tuesday is the first press conference. So let's see what goes on at that press conference. We know there's a lot of heat going into this Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury 3 fight. A lot of heat. A lot of bad blood. A lot of knockdowns. A lot of conspiracy theories. All right? Lot of bitterness because by Deontay Wilder going to arbitration and winning it, the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight, which would have been the biggest fight in the history of the UK, can't happen yet. So we got to see. You know, that shit is going to be a hell of a press conference. So we better tune in for that. Let me see if they listed the time for the press conference and everything. I don't got it listed here yet. I'll find that out, or you could just Google it real quick. Look up what time will the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury press conference be on Tuesday. They announced it will be on Tuesday, and they announced the undercard. And the last thing I want to get into before I take off here, this is actually longer than I expected to stay, was just to talk about the Floyd Mayweather-Logan Paul numbers, the pay-per-view numbers. So they're reporting that let me see. Let me just double check real quick. I want to make sure I got the exact. Yeah, all right. So they're reporting that it got 1 million pay-per-view buys. Okay? 1 million pay-per-view buys for Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. Just think about that for a second. Okay, the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight only got 800,000, and that's on the high end. All right, Errol Spence, when he goes out, he gets 300,000-400,000. Even Pacquiao, his last couple pay-per-views only been 400,000 maybe. Terrence Crawford gets like 200,000. So I'm not mad at it because I love boxing and I respect everyone getting their money and I got no problem with it. Even the circus puts eyes on the sport. But everybody remember that. If you're going to talk shit about this, but then not buy the Pacquiao-Spence fight, don't talk shit. You shouldn't talk shit anyway because let people do what they want to do. You don't want to watch, don't watch. But it did get, a million pay-per-view buys. That's what I thought it was going to get. I said between like 1 and 2, maybe, somebody said as high as 4. I had one conversation with somebody. I said, I don't know. I said, maybe. I said, but I'm looking more like 1, 1.5. So it did right around what I figured it would do. Floyd Mayweather, I think with that ends up getting right around 100 million in total in the fight between sponsorships, pay-per-view buys, baseline purse. He's going to walk away with around 100, probably like 85 to 100. And Logan Paul is going to walk away. I think they said between everything, all sponsorships and this and that, he's going to walk away with between like 30 and 50. That's a big gap. So maybe you think more 30, 40, even if it's 20. This kid made $20 million to fight Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition. And Floyd, fresh off the couch, with ass hair on his head and his face, made $100 million. So talk shit about it. I get it. It's a circus. It's this, it's that. But make sure you spend that money and put it into the hands and the pockets of the real boxers the next time that pay-per-view comes around. So much respect. I don't see anybody commenting. I see a few people on here scattered throughout the different platforms I got this on. I'm going to take off for now. Like I said, everybody, I'm going to be doing this every Thursday around 8 o'clock. I'm going to go live, and then I'm going to have like a 5 to 10 minute ticker going down so I can share it in some groups, make sure I get some eyes on it. All right. I'm always looking to network with people. Please hit me up. You see all my Instagram profiles up there. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, FocusCDS. That's FocusCDS for Focus City Don't Sleep. Please subscribe. Please show love. You don't like me, tell me you hate me in the comment thread. Just help me out. I need this algorithm to do good. Talk shit. Roast me. Tell me I don't know shit. Or if you love it, tell me you love it. But just support in some way. Help me grow. I appreciate everyone. Much love.